Are you ever in the forest like me and feel like you've seen some sort of human hybrid run by in your peripheral, whether it be an insect human hybrid or an animal human hybrid? You may have. Welcome to Soul Spy University, where your souls can run free and your minds are free to expand. Essentially, adult Disneyland. Happy Halloween season, everyone. Big Bad Wolf reporting on cryptids today in this amazing, groundbreaking episode with the most recent reports. He has three crazy stories for you that just happened. I am so excited. I am Little Red Riding Hood. A much big thank you to all of our subscribers for your Halloween indulgences. We have made you a Halloween It Up playlist. For those of you that haven't subscribed yet, please join our family so we're not lost on you forever. And yes, if you would like to indulge in more Halloween, make sure to check out our new Halloween It Up playlist. We will have a new Halloween episode for you every week in October, as well as amazing holiday episodes coming up as well. You're not going to want to miss any of them. So please make sure to like. That would be amazing so we can keep putting out this amazing content for you. And sharing is huge for us. And if any of you are interested in supporting us further, please check out all the info in the description box. There is still a link that works. It warms my heart so much if you guys ever do anything with that. And if anybody needs any sort of coaching, whether it be metaphysical, manifestational, or spiritually intuitive, my contact info is in the description box. And I'll see if my soul can fit your soul's needs. Usually it's amazing, amazing feedback. In fact, always. So anyway, Tommy, what a big nose you have.
Oh, the better to physically attack you.
Oh, looking forward to that. So, cryptids.
So these three stories are pretty amazing. The third one, though, disclaimer, might mess with your sleep a little bit.
Yes, and because it actually is legit scary, I mean, they probably could all be considered scary, but the last one, we're going to dilute it a little because that is not my intention on this channel. My intention is to expand your minds. And that is what we're going to be doing right now, diving into this interesting thing. Are we getting into Goatman?
Yes.
Okay.
Our first cryptid is the Goatman. Now, there are different tales of him. First of all, it's on Old Alton Bridge, which is in Texas. And it's between a little town called Alton that was occupied by one person. And he was like, this is a town. And so he decided to make a bridge to Denton, the next town, which is an actual town. And whatever, the town, Alton ended up being nothing. Nobody lives there, whatever. So there's a bridge. You can't drive across it. You can walk across it, though. It's open to everybody. And it is said that the Goatman resides there. When you walk on the bridge, he's watching you. Now, the stories go that the Goatman, that many years ago, there was satanic rituals on that bridge and in the woods surrounding that bridge.
Ew.
And so that the satanic rituals had opened up a portal, letting through something called the Goatman.
Yeah.
So, let's see. People have said that when they crossed the bridge, they could hear like a growling whisper saying, get off the bridge, get off the bridge. And so people started running and they get off the bridge very quickly. Now, there's a story of these two boys or two guys who were on the bridge and they heard the growling to tell them to get off. Now, one boy was scared out of his mind, so he ran immediately. But his friend was like, oh, it's just you screwing with me. When the boy turned around, he watched his friend being dragged by some kind of like shadow and lifted and thrown over the bridge. But he was thrown into water. The boy survived, but he said that he didn't know what was doing it. but he felt it dragging him and like lifted him up and threw him over. People also claim that they hear like hooves following them when they're on the bridge, and that like every once in a while you could see glowing eyes from the surrounding woods watching you while you're on the bridge. They say that to summon him when you're on there, you knock 3 times on the bridge
This
and he'll
sounds,
come.
this sounds really Mothman-y.
Yeah, it's more like Candyman than anything else.
I
Uh,
have identical to Mothman story, which I intentionally, guys, I told Big Bad Wolf to stay away from.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, what big ears you have?
yeah, they're big. Uh, so uh, that being said, that's all like well and good, but then there's also people that go hiking around that place. That, like throughout the years, there's a lot of big people that have gone missing, and they found the remains of a woman, like just torn up, and they were like, "Oh, probably wolves," but that's just propaganda. Wolves are good people, and to this day, people still go there all the time to just like to explore, to find out if the Goat Man actually exists.
Uh, what is with bridges, man? They're just attracting cryptids left and right. Mothman, same thing.
Well, they say that bridges are, because it's supposed to be a natural space, are some kind of gateway to the other world. I don't understand it, but
Because it's a natural space. Isn't everything a natural space?
well, it's supposed to be like a gap in like time, like thing, and that's not supposed to be there.
Uh,
So it attracts things from different realms and what. I don't. That's a weird one.
and
I
it's
don't get it.
unnatural space.
No,
And
no. What's
unnatural.
originally there is natural space. What they put there is the yes, you're right. Which what they put there is the unnatural space that apparently drives things towards it.
So
So,
by that regard, every mall should have be crawling with cryptids.
have you seen some of the people in the malls?
Plus, if you ever watch Stranger Things, it seems to attract them.
uh, so the next one is the Michigan Dogman. This one's not so bad. He's not such a bad guy, apparently. So in Michigan, in the rural Michigan, there are many.
Um, Sorry, guys, for this segment, I thought we should premiere um, me and Big Bad Wolf's daughter, Muffin. Yeah, I guess, I don't know how the Red Riding Hood story goes.
I'm
Uh,
a father. Why did you ever tell me?
oh, I thought I did already. Guess not. Well, sidebar, you're a dad, and this is your daughter.
All these years, I thought I was sterile.
Well, I don't see this being anybody else's.
All right, so
Okay,
the Michigan Dogman.
I wonder if Muffin is related to Dogman. Are you going to listen to the story that
I
your
doubt
daddy's telling us? Huh?
it. I doubt it.
Well,
So,
let's see.
so let's get into the Michigan Dogman. So, the rural parts of Michigan, towards the woods, there's been many, many stories of sightings of this large wolf-like thing that walks on 2 feet.
Ooh,
It gets on 4 feet every once in a while, and people like think that maybe it's a bear or something. But then when they get closer, they're like, "Well, that's no bear. That is no bear." And the thing is, it's been like they've been stories for a long time about it. Now, their one story is from 1961, and there's also proof. From
uh,
1961, there was a nighttime security guard. Sh- Shout out uh, to who had his home directly. They let him live. They had like like a house that was in the compound, which worked out. So he'd be stay on his porch and he would just like drink coffee with his gun and just watch the perimeter. And he said around three, oh no, I'm sorry, so about 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up stories. He saw something move, and he got up to look to see to make sure because around that time, there's it's been known that maybe sometimes kids come around and they try to cause mischief.
Yeah.
So he saw movement around the fence, and he looked, and he's like, "Oh, it's some kind of animal." And then he looked closer, and it's like the thing, like it was walking on fours first, and then it just stood up. And he said it was about 7 feet tall, and it started walking like a man.
Oh my
And
God. Were
yeah,
you in the mall? Were you in the mall?
no. So it wasn't like it was in the dark too, because they have like all these street lights down the driveway, and so it was walking towards it. So the guy's like, I gotta take a picture of this. Nobody's gonna believe me. So he ran inside and got his camera, his old school camera, and he actually took a picture of it. Now he didn't do anything with this, but he told his family about it. He said that the thing kept walking along and then just, like walked out of the like frame and just went on its way. He told his family about this. He told no one else. His son, years later, in the 90s, said, my father told us his story, and then he showed the photo negative, which you can't doctor. At least to my knowledge, you can't doctor it of the picture, and it does look like a gigantic freaking like it's a little blurry, like I said, but it looks like this gigantic thing just chilling out right by the freaking like a lamppost, like just like stalking along.
All right, guys, hang on. I'm gonna get the picture for you. So, all right, guys, I got the picture. Ready? Look at the screen.
That's not it. That's
Uh,
not it at all. No, that's not a dog, man. It's a dog.
oh, all right. I'll keep looking. Then is it this? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's it. See, it's super blurry, but you could obviously see the shape of this gigantic thing standing on its 2 feet. And it's from 61, where it's like there's no messing around back then.
Here you go, guys. Apparently,
Yeah, they say it's huge shoulders, super muscular.
all of them. What big muscles you have.
All right, stop going off on the on the dog. uh, but then okay, here's the other story. In 2007, this politician who was well known, who wanted to keep it silent. He didn't want like anybody to know. But anyway, he was driving along home at night from give me a second, from Benson County, and he was driving home from his friend's house
Mm,
on Cinder Road
mm.
in the middle of the night. So while he was driving, he saw eyes in the like ahead of him. So he started slowing down because he was thinking maybe it was a deer. Then when he got closer, he realized that the eyes were much higher up than he first thought. So this guy's an avid hunter too. So he's like, "Oh, it's got to be a bear or something." And then he got closer and closer, and then finally, when he was about 30 feet away,
It
he
was
saw it.
this one.
He's yes, he saw it standing about six. He said 6 to 7 feet on two legs, and it was covered in blood,
What
and
happened?
and it was just staring at him. And he goes, it looked like a massive wolf just standing on the two legs with humongous like talons, like not but like claws, like a man. and under in front of him was a dead deer.
Oh,
So it was hunting, so it killed the deer.
oh my God.
And so he had his high beams on his thing, and the thing just stared at him. And
Hmm.
then finally, it was like, all right, and it ran off into the woods. Now this guy with the biggest balls in the world decided to get out of his car and go check on what like see if there's any proof, like see what the hell he was like, if there's anything there. He was an avid hunter, like I said, so he had his gun with him, and he found a paw print, and the paw print was larger than any animal he has ever seen. He's hunted bears, so it was definitely, he said it was definitely not a paw print. So he took a shotgun shell and he put it in the print for scale, and there's a picture out there for it, and it's huge, huge. So he told his family this and whatever. His brother-in-law, who's like, my brother-in-law doesn't want anybody to know who he is as a politician. So I'm going to tell you about his story. So I was like, oh, nobody could follow the threads on that one. Whatever. So that was that guy. Now there are other stories. There's all kinds of different stories that pop up about it, but every single one of them, the dogmen are just like, ah, people, and they walk away. No one's gotten hurt by it. There was a girl who was this woman named Kenzie, who was with her friends, and she heard they were out watching stars, and then they heard like trees snapping and stuff. They're like, "What the heck is that?" And then they just kept hearing it and hearing it, and then finally they're like, "All right, let's go find out what's going on." So they walked down to the water edge and across the little stream or pond, whatever, what do you want to call it, river. They saw three dogmen, three large wolf-like things, drinking water with like a man would, like scooping it into their hands and drinking it out of their hands. And they said that the three of them, they for a minute didn't notice them. Then finally they looked up and saw them, and then like it was no big deal. Like they just got another scoop of water and just walked off into the woods.
Like on two legs.
Yeah. Well, they go back and forth like to, I guess, terrain. And the girl Kenzie, I believe her name was Kenzie, took a lie detector test and passed.
Wait,
That
what do you mean they go back and forth? Like sometimes they're on two legs, sometimes they're on four legs?
Yeah,
Hmm.
when they're stalking, apparently they're on four legs or something. So this they gave this woman a lie detector test and she passed. Now, granted, lie detector tests, they could be tricked. Her two friends did not take the lie detector test, but whatever.
Now, did they
There's
choose not to, or were they just weren't given it?
nobody knows.
Hmm.
I think they probably chose not to. Uh,
Well,
so
that's
there's
changed the story.
yes, there's
Wow.
another story. All right, there's another story
Wow,
on.
now if you have,
All right, you don't even have to keep telling me how large my nose is. So
but it's my
there's
job.
so
That's
there's a
all I
couple. There was
do.
a couple.
All I do when a big bad wolf shows up and I'm just trying to pick some damn grapes in the forest is talk about how big all his stuff is, right?
Yeah, that is weird. Why you sit there and tell me how large my things are? Now we know where that dog actually came. So there was a couple that were on their porch, relaxing, having tea and watching the stars. And their porch was directly across from 300 acres of open like woods. And they saw something moving and like they say that it's completely natural that animals come back and forth in front of their house like crazy because it's like woodland area. So they saw something coming in the grass in the high grass, and they thought, oh, it's just it's probably a fox or something. But then they noticed because the porch was pretty high up that it was like stalking on all fours, but its body length was about 7 feet long. And they're like, "What the?" They got up and they're like, "What the hell?" And then it didn't notice them at all until finally it just like it saw them because they gasped, and it looked up. It was like, "Oh, my bad," and it kind of just walked off, and then it stood up and walked into the woods. And that's when they're like, "Holy crap!" They thought it was a wolf the whole time, maybe a large wolf, and then until it finally, when it got to the woods, whatever, it stood on its back legs and just walked like a man into the woods. They ran inside. They told her parents and stuff, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go ahead and stay inside tonight." There's no proof of that one though, which is like that would have been great.
Well, because you're
Um,
shocked.
yeah, but the speculation of this is this: um, the native Cheyennes had a group of warriors called the Dogmen. They had said that the Dogmen would commune with their spirit animals and uh, basically meditate and all this stuff, and to the point where they can finally merge with the spirit animal, and so they themselves can then turn into said animal, which these men were turning into wolves. Then they also say that the this can be passed down from their bloodline to the next generation, to the next generation, to the next generation.
Ooh, how Twilight. So these people became wolves?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that they were vicious, and they said that they don't harm anyone unless they have harm brought upon them. I mean, which makes sense because all these people see these dogmen, and nobody's gotten hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's some validity there. Who knows? All right. So this is the final story, and this story is a bit frightening. So my apologies, just letting you know.
And don't worry, guys, as Little Red Riding Hood on this channel, I will make sure it doesn't go too far because I don't want to spread the fear. I'm just gonna let it go as far as it. Tommy, just tell them what will expand their mind, but don't freak them out too much.
I'll do my best.
Hmm.
Now, this story is the story of the Rake.
No, my
Uh,
God, not a rake.
yeah, they're, they're the bane of my people. We're constantly stepping on them, and then just flies up and hits us in the face.
No.
So the Rake is known to be in rural New York, like upstate New York,
Where
towards
all the
Buffalo.
leaves are.
Yes, and also known to be seen in Idaho. Now, here's the other thing: they've also found sourced something that they think might be it in Britain.
No,
Now,
not a rake in Britain.
now this thing, the story of it goes back, and it's a little evil. The story goes back a long, long time. There's a whole community of people who have this thing has affected their lives, and like they got together and wrote a book about it. And they took all these short stories from all the wherever they can find. So this one thing they found from 1691 was from a mariner's log, saying that he knows true evil
Mm,
and that it stalks him in his sleep
mm-hmm,
while he sleeps,
mm-hmm,
and that he needs to take his family and return to Britain.
mm-hmm.
Now, the other one was from a journal in 18, was from Spanish, from a journal in 1880, from 1880, stating that this thing whispers in his ear while he tries to sleep,
Mm.
and that it destroyed his life.
The rake.
Yes. Now this other one, there's more, but I'm not gonna. From 1964 was a suicide note,
Yeah.
and the man was like, "I can never rest. I he constantly comes to me. He
The rake.
whispers in my ear. And so he's like, I could only rest in the final rest, basically. And this is no one's fault but him. And he also wrote a note for two other people, three other people, but one of them was to this woman who's like, he whispered in my ear, he said your name. I want to make sure you're okay. I want you to be safe. So these are some of the stories. And then finally,
This woman had the rake whispered that guy's name in her ear.
no, her name in his ear.
Um,
So the rake
great.
looks kind of like a man, but pale white, sunken,
Oh,
hollow.
we stop here, guys. That's freaking weird. Let's just pretend it's a freaking rake. I don't want, no, we all have to sleep at night. We're not going to spread that much.
So it looks like a stick, and it had it's meant for leaves. So anyway, this stick.
Nice. Let's just make it be a rake.
Okay. Well, this rake, this family in 2006, this woman said that her family had just come back down from Niagara, and they got home late, so they went to bed, and it was her husband, and their two children. So it was around 4 in the morning where she thought she heard her husband get up to go to the bathroom. So she went and she decided to take the covers to, to warm herself more thoroughly. When she pulled and she saw that her husband was still next to her, and she woke him. She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were going to the bathroom."
But it was the rake.
And then she looked at him, and his eyes
No,
bulged in terror.
Look, Tommy.
I gotta tell the story.
No. Mm-mm.
So I mean, yeah, I have to finish this. All right, it's not gonna be that. It's not that scary.
Anything with eyes is terrifying.
So she looks, and the man is freaking out. He pulls his knees to his chest, and like he's just freaked out, and he grabs his wife but doesn't say anything. And then she sees at the end of the bed.
All right, wait, Tommy.
She sees the back, and then she notices, like, at first she thought it was like, like an animal, or like because it's hunched down. And then she sees what it is, and
Rake.
Yes, it's the rake, and the rake looks at them and kind of skitters around the bed. And then the man's like freaked out and still not saying anything. So it walks up to him and kind of just puts his hand on his leg, on his knee, and just stares at him for a minute. And then it runs off down the hall. Now the wife freaks out. She gets out of bed. She's like, "Oh, the children." So she puts the whole light on. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of blood everywhere.
Oh my
God. She sees her daughter on the floor.
Okay.
And the thing's standing over her, and it just stares at her. And then nonchalantly runs away.
Did anybody survive?
So the husband, they went up to the daughter, and like in one of her whispering voice says, "He was the rake."
Who said that?
The daughter, as she was dying, says he was the rake. And so the father takes the daughter to the hospital. Now, as the father is driving to the hospital, he apparently drives into the river, dying, and the daughter as well dies. So the wife, to this, like, lost her mind, tried finding people to like let them know this is what's happening. This thing is real. This happened to me. This happened to us. So she finally found a bunch of people, and one of them mentioned, put a recorder next to your bed every night. So she did. So she puts a recorder next to bed, and for the most part, she heard nothing. Then finally, she heard it, like kind of like skittering around her bed while she slept. Now that's That's one story of the rake. There's also this thing that happened not so long ago in Glasgow. I think Glasgow, what the Britain or whatever. They were searching for to
Wait,
clean out the sewers,
uh, all right.
and it's video evidence. And in the video, you see something blur. They have like a drone type situation in the sewers. Like I forgot what they were looking for. But you see like a quick blur, white blur, go past the thing.
Mm,
Then it happens again in another thing. But then one where it's coming forward, you can clearly see what people describe the rake to look like. Step out and just stare at it, and then just like blur out it away, like disappear again.
okay, now we have less than 7 minutes left on this thing, but um, like, all right, in the least scary way possible. Does it look like a human?
Just the fact that it has arms and legs and fingers. Its fingers are long, long fingers. But not really. It has sunken, hollow eyes, like a
I just
like.
said, Tommy.
Okay, well, it has it kind of looks like a human, kind of,
Okay.
but
I
for the
mean,
most part,
you mean that
you know what it looks like? You remember the Lord of the Rings?
no, I don't.
Okay, well, do you remember if anybody remembers Smeagol, what he looked like in that movie? That's the same kind of like position this thing's always in.
I think an image came to my mind, like
Golem, whatever.
like a what? Like is it like an anorexic hobbit or something?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is what that kind of looks like.
Uh-huh. Why are they calling it the rake? Or should I not know this?
I have no idea. Nobody knows. They just call it the rake.
All right. Well, for our audience, let's just pretend it's a rake, okay? Because we
Yes.
don't want to spread this. This already went a little too far, but I guess that's the spirit of Halloween. I like more like Nightmare Before Christmas, Scream, etc. I really don't like to mess with whatever the just happened. So now I don't know how the hell I'm ever gonna sleep again, but we'll see.
Well, Christmas presents were given at the end of this. There you go.
What?
Then you get everybody got Christmas presents. There, if it makes people feel better.
Yeah. Oh yes, all the dead bodies. Well, good to know that we never really die, guys.
Yes.
The dog man
So,
seems nice, though.
what's that?
The dog man seems nice.
Yeah, he was chill.
He was.
See,
Oh,
we get really bad reps.
I mean, the goat man should take notes from the dog man, and I actually like the dog man's story, and that rake should kind of chill out with the dog man too. Like, take something, man.
Yeah, there's another story about it, but I'm not going to say it here because that one was terrifying.
Oh my god,
So,
great.
so that's the thing. I never knew about it until I started researching. Can I see my child again before we leave?
Yeah, yeah. Hang on a second. 4 minutes.
My baby.
Oh my god.
I am so sorry your mother kept us from each other.
I
We'll
huh?
we'll eat her together.
Wow, what a big face you have.
Talking to me, you're talking to the child.
No, this is my child.
This
Why
is
would I insult my
our child.
It was until you mentioned scary stories to my audience on this YouTube channel.
Oh, there's worse. But
We went a little too far, guys. Sorry
sorry.
about that. But if you
But it is
enjoyed it,
Halloween.
if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button so we can keep putting out this content for you. Check out our Halloween It Up playlist. It actually has pretty funny videos on it. And also, are you the dog man? Okay. And if you guys would like manifestational coaching or spiritually intuitive coaching, make sure The link's in the description box for me. And if anybody would like to buy either of us a coffee, especially now that we're not going to be able to sleep for the rest of our lives, that link is still active in the description box. It would mean the world to me and my child, considering we don't get any wolf support.
I just didn't know. What can I possibly give you? Meat? You want a deer? I'll grab a deer.
Well, this is Little Red Riding Hood and Big Bad Wolf closing out with this child that I could have sworn I told them I had, but may have forgotten. It slips my mind as I pick berries and big wolves come up to me, and all I do is tell them how big they are in different various ways.
So it could not even be mine.
I don't know. Anyway, stay tuned for next time on Soul Spy University. Thank you guys so much for coming. Much love. And say bye.
Bye, guys.